So it's been a while since we've had a heart-to-heart here on the channel, and I wanted to just take a minute and talk to you if you are struggling with perfection as a YouTube content creator. And what I mean by that is I just got off of a members live stream, and with that members live stream, I had somebody in there talking about they were waiting to start going live on their channel until their set and everything it was that they were doing was perfect. And since they were waiting for all the gear and all the things that they were doing to be perfect, they were not live streaming because of it, even though it was something that they wanted to try. And I know that in addition to live streaming by itself, making video content is a similar boat, so to speak, because when it comes to making video content, a lot of people won't make video content because they're waiting for everything to be perfect. They're waiting to get a good camera. They're waiting to get the right microphone. They're waiting to get that perfect background. They're waiting until they learn just a little bit more about YouTube, or until maybe they start figuring out how to design thumbnails so they can get people to click and things like that. And what happens in that situation is you start creating this mounting effort against yourself to prevent yourself from actually taking action and putting out content. And the reason I wanted to have this conversation is because when you are taking that approach and you are putting a limit on yourself, so to speak, or you're creating these expectations that are super high, especially when you're first getting started, then it can work against you in terms of preventing you from publishing content to the platform, which in turn is preventing you from learning other things that you need to learn in order to get results here on the platform as well. So if you are somebody that is struggling with perfection and you're struggling with the idea that everything that you do has to be perfect and that the sound has to be perfect and that the camera imagery has to be perfect and all of that, I mean, don't get me wrong, having all of that stuff is fantastic, but if it's limiting you and preventing you from taking action, then the thing that you need to start thinking about is, instead of everything needs to be perfect in order for me to move forward on this, it's better to start thinking about, okay, I'm going to be learning a lot of things about YouTube. I'm going to be publishing a lot of videos to the platform. And in most cases, the first videos that I publish, they're not going to do that fantastic. And since they're not going to do that fantastic in most cases, then that gives you a lot of room to breathe. That gives you a lot of room to learn. That gives you a lot of room to develop the skill sets that are required to be a successful content creator here on YouTube. So if you are somebody that is struggling with perfection and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I've just got to get that one more thing in order to start making content, or I got to do that one more thing, or make sure that I get the perfect setup and all of that before I start live streaming, I encourage you to get past all of that and just start publishing with what it is that you can do, and start live streaming with whatever it is that you can start live streaming with, so that you can start collecting experience. And once you start collecting that experience, then you can still build all the stuff on the back end in terms of the things that are going to make your videos look better or sound better or make your live streams cooler or whatever it happens to be. But the most important thing to make sure that you're thinking about is, I need to think of what it is that I need to do in order to take the next step. Because as content creators, as human beings, what we do is we look at all of the things that we have to do and all of the things that we imagine in our minds of how things are supposed to be. And that creates this huge mountain of things that we have to do, or this huge expectation of how we need things to be in order for us to take action. But the funny thing is, with all of that, it's just a big limitation that we're putting on ourselves, and we're excusing the fact that we're not taking action because we're thinking, well, I'll just do that once XYZ, instead of saying, you know what, I'm just going to work with what I have right now. I'm going to go for it so that I can learn. When you start taking action and you start going for it, and you start thinking to yourself, you know what, I might not have the best camera right now. I might have to do this on my phone, or the phone that I do have, maybe it's not the best, or maybe I don't have a camera, but I do have a webcam. So let me get started with that. Instead of thinking that, the stuff that you're using isn't good enough. Don't get me wrong. Again, gear, it definitely helps. It makes things look better, sound better, and all that. However, with all of the things that you're going to have to do as a content creator, learning how to make titles that people click on, learning how to make thumbnails that people click on, coming up with good video ideas, learning how to read and interpret your stats so you can use that information to really accelerate things for you on the platform, learning how to properly use all of the cool stuff that you're going to get in your career as a YouTube content creator or a content creator in general. Like, in the path of all of that, it's really important to make sure that you just push the perfection aside and you embrace the process of learning, and you focus on that next step. So for example, if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I have to wait until this is perfect, or I have to wait until that. Instead of thinking that way, I want you to do this for me. put a deadline on yourself and say, okay, if I don't have everything ready by this date, then I'm going for it anyway. I'm just gonna make what I can make with what it is that I have, and I'm gonna start publishing to the platform so that I can learn how YouTube works. I can learn the upload process. I can learn the live streaming process. I can start growing my community with live streams. I can start growing my community with the videos. I can start learning how to optimize videos and things like that. So I encourage you to put your perfection to the side and just focus on taking that next step. So the way to get around that, like I was just saying a second ago, is to give yourself a deadline and say, this time next week or this time next month, regardless of where I'm at, that is the day that I'm going to publish my first video, or that's the day that I'm going to do my first live stream, regardless of where it is that I'm at in the process, so that I can start developing the skills that I'm gonna need as a content creator in order to make this stuff work out for me. If you can do that, and you can start taking action on making videos and publishing and doing that thing that you wanna do, then what's going to happen is you're going to wake up a year from now or 6 months from now or whatever it happens to be, and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm so glad that I started doing that when I did, instead of waking up and thinking, man, I should have started doing this, 6 months ago. Or once you get that experience after a year, thinking, oh, I should have started, a year ago, right? Instead of letting those things limit you, just go ahead and start taking action now, because action is required to get the results that you want. And if you are a new content creator, I have a whole series of videos that are gonna help you get started with YouTube. I'll put a link to them right here. You can go ahead and click into those now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.